Okay, hey there everybody. I'm just getting a few things set up here really quickly. So this morning, before I record any videos, I was going to record some videos today for the channel. I don't know, I just started messing around on a personal little programming project I've been working on, and I have the day off from school today because of the holiday here in the US. So I thought I would try my hand at making, rigging, and animating a 3D model. So, I'm not an expert at this process by any means. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, alright. So this is a program called Voxel, and I'll include a link to it in the stream here. I believe it's open source. It's made by this guy named F. Tracy, who you can follow on Twitter. And I mean, it has a lot of functionality that I have no idea how to use. So let me just grab this link here so I can plop that in the stream. So what am I looking for? There we go. So we've got link to Magic of Voxel by @F. Tracy. So if you want to use this, you can. It's really intuitive. I've used this with my students before when we've been doing 3D stuff. The kids always like making their own models or their own art. And even if they can't really do a great job at making their own art, they still like trying or knowing that it's there, that it's a possibility. So this is just a little duder I made this morning when I was just messing around. I tried to get the proportions kind of right. I think his legs need to be a bit longer for the proportions to be correct. Am I coming through? Okay, I am coming through. All right, good. So this is just a little duder I made. Right now there's no animation at all. One of the things, this is Magic of Voxel, Mishka. I included a link to it in the stream description, but it's ftracy at GitHub, or ftracy.github.io. It's still not even at a 1.0 release, but it's incredibly easy to use. Just use attach and then face or box, and you can have things mirror on any axis you want it to. So I made this little duder. One of the things about Magic of Voxel, though, is when you're making your model, it creates a lot of unnecessary triangles. Like, for example, every single voxel, because it's made with voxels, every single voxel has 12 triangles that it makes. So this model, even though it looks like it's low poly, if I were to plop it down in Unity, would be a pretty high poly model. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of manipulation here to make it not huge, but I'll show you what I mean when I say it's going to be a high poly model. So I want to export my model here, and I'm just going to put it on my desktop. I'm going to call it character base, and I want to export it not as a voxel. There's a way that you can export it. It's been a while since I've used this. Let's see. Well, first I guess I should save my project. Yeah, I told you guys when I started making this, I'm not oh, there it is, export. Okay, I want to export it as an OBJ. There we go. I'm going to call this characterbase.obj. I don't have to add the .obj. Okay, I'm just going to put it on my desktop where I put everything. And okay, so now if I go into Unity here, which I should have had open before I started the stream, but no worries. If I go into Unity, I'm going to make a new, I don't want to add, I want to make a new project. I'm using 2019.2 for this because I found, hello Jakara, I found a few bugs with 2019.3 and the universal render pipeline, which is what I've been trying to use more often, but hey there Sasta, yes I am live. So I'm going to call this 3D model and rig test. And I'm not going to save it to my desktop, I'm going to save it to my documents, projects, Unity projects. All right. So it's going to take a minute for this to load up since I didn't already preload Unity. Hey there, Kelly. How are you? So I just want to show you guys what it's going to be like if you don't do a little bit of finesse in Blender. And I forget exactly what the steps are. I don't have them memorized, but like almost everything else that I've learned along the way, I made myself a Google Doc for it, so I can just go check my Google Docs. Hello, Leonardo Simi. How are you? Oh, no, didn't want to do that. There we go. I don't have my laptop downstairs with me right now, so I just have my phone out looking at the chat. Glad to hear all is going well. Happy Thanksgiving to anybody in the States. I know it's a little early for that, but I got today off because of it, so I'm a little happy. If the music's too loud, let me know. Okay. So the basic idea for today's stream is hello, She, how are you? Tomorrow you get a morning job? Is that you're looking for a morning job or you're starting a morning job? Music is perfect. Thank you, Sosta. Okay, so in Unity here, I'm just going to make a quick little folder. This is going to be for models. And then into my model folder for my desktop, I'm going to drag in, what did I call it? See, this is the problem with me putting everything on my desktop. There it is, character base. And then Magic Voxel also exports the texture as just this one giant, 1 pixel wide band of their colors. So like that's a band of the palette over here, all the way down to the bottom. So I'm going to make a material for this as well. And I'm just going to call this, how do you do your money to life? I'm not sure what you're asking, Mishka. Oh, how do I do my money to live? Okay, good lord. I'm a teacher. I teach high school in a very small rural town in Montana. So I'm going to call this model material, plug the thingy thing, the texture into the albedo. Hi, Yoda. My cat Yoda wants to say hi. She hears me talking. And then if I pull my model into the world, I can attach the material to it. Nope, come on now. I've done this before, I swear. Maybe they've changed stuff since then. Is it not the albedo I need to plug it into? Maybe it's the detail? I'm just going to plug it into everything until I find something I'm not supposed to plug it into. Metallic. No. I know it's not the normal map. Although that does make it look pretty cool. Height map. Occlusion. Super not that. Detail mask. I'm going to turn these back to none really quickly here. For each one I know it's not. I said in the stream description, I am far from an expert in doing anything 3D. Let's go back to none. Oh wait, no, albedo did work because all my model's just gray. Good lord. Some days, yeah, albedo is working because my model's just gray. It would be white if the albedo wasn't working. So we're good. Anyway. Okay, so taking a look here at our character base, I want to know how many triangles this has. This should have like a really small number of triangles, but it's going to have a ridiculous number. And I forget where you can see that in Unity. There's a place where you can see just how many triangles. There we go. Oh, I guess that's not bad. 468 triangles. It must have got better. Either Magic of Voxel got better at exporting to Unity, or Unity got better at taking in a voxel model, because it's not making 2 triangles for every face. So that's good. So this actually isn't bad. This is 468 triangles. So I guess I don't need to do that Blender thing. Sweet. They must have changed that at some point. Either Magic of Voxel did or Unity did. That's good news. All right, so let's talk about rigging this thing. So if we take a look at a website called Mixamo, you have to have an Adobe account to use this, but it's free. You just have to have an Adobe account. In Mixamo, you can add a model, and it has this rigify process that you can do if you upload your own character. I'll put a link to Mixamo in the description of the stream here. So let me edit. So there's the link to Magic of Voxel and ftracy. I'm going to add a link to Mixamo, to rig. It's owned by safe. Kelly Sampson asks, how to keep your motivation to keep programming going? I'm struggling in this area. So depends on exactly what you're trying to do. In my opinion, you should always have more than one project going, and I know that that's probably going to be unpopular, especially for people who want to make their dream game. But you should... Ow, hey. Yoda's getting a little feisty with me this morning. You should always have some simple projects going that you can work on, that you can feel like you've accomplished something, and then you can always go back to your bigger project, having learned whatever you needed to learn. So I think you should always have smaller things going. That way you can feel like you have these little victories, and those little victories can kind of help you work. Orange975 says, I don't really have time to watch the stream right now, but love the vids. Thank you very much, man. All right, so you want to orient it into the T-pose, which is why I modeled it the way I did. Then I gotta tell it where the chin is, the wrists, elbows, knees, and groin. And I want the standard skeleton. I don't want any fingers. So I'm gonna go no fingers. Next. And it's gonna rig it and then show a sample animation. In my experience, this is super intensive on your computer, even though it looks like it shouldn't be. Like when I do this on my laptop, it practically melts through my lap. So we'll see how it goes here. All right, error occurred on ring, unknown error. Oops, please place all markers. Okay, so my markers aren't good then. I wonder if it's the elbows or if it was the wrists. Runner-up says, hey man, just wanted to say hi, hope you are well. Thanks for the tutorials, have an awesome Thanksgiving, cheers for now. Thanks very much, Runner-up. I hope you're doing well too, and thanks. Kelly Sampson says, I like the Unity FPS challenge. It's simple, so I started looking for simple challenges like that. Yeah, I think it's important, like, you don't have to not work on the game that you want to work on, but I think it's important to have small victories that you're working towards. Okay, so it looks like his hands aren't great. Everything else looks okay, though. Except there's that weird triangle twist that shows up. That's kind of to be expected, though, because we're taking a voxel model and making it kind of bendy. Thanks very much, Jeremy. I am going to change the hands, though. So I'm just going to leave this here for a second. I'm going to go back into Magic of Voxel, and I'm going to make my hands a bit more hand-like. So I'm going to erase and keep it mirrored. And then I'm going to erase. Nope, didn't mean to do that. And then what else can I do to make these a little more hand-like? I can attach. That's where the thumb goes, right? Right, okay. Mishka says, I kiss your eyes for showing me Mixamo. Is it free? It's free, yeah. You have to have an Adobe account, though. So you have to set up an Adobe account if you don't already have one. But yes, it is free. So that, yeah, that last set was too much. No, hey, come on. Alright, that's better. Yeah, let's see if it likes this better. So I'm going to re-export this as an OBJ. I'm going to call this whatever I called the last one, character base. Alright, now if I go back into Mixamo, I want to upload a new character. Okay. Oriented in the T-pose. Chin goes where the chin goes. Wrists go where the wrists go. Elbows. Knees. And groin. And I want to do no fingers. Okay. Music's gotten a little intense here. Let's switch stations. So what do I want? Ambient? Oh, that looks way better. That looks so much better. Okay, so let's use this. So what I want is some animations, and Mixamo has these preset packs. Let's look under the adventure. So we've got these. What exactly do I want? I want an idle. Let's not go in adventure. Let's just go general. So kind of like this one. How does that look? It's okay. Still that weird double triangle on the chest, but that's not bad. So I'm going to, it's 60 total frames right now. I'll leave that. I'm going to download it as an FBX with skin. No keyframe reduction. And this is going to pop up in my downloads. Jeremy Jackson says not bad at all. Hands look better. I agree. Changing them to not be those like boxing gloves helped a lot. And I thought it would look bad with that weird little thing I added for the thumb, but I don't think it looks that bad at all. So that's idle. Let's do run. What's this guy doing? Hey, look, it's the Tom Cruise run. Pointy arm run. These two are similar. I'm assuming that's supposed to be a zombie. Hey, it's the Naruto run. I honestly don't know. Mishka asks, what's better for performance, more FPS on the game using OBJ or FBX? I don't know. It's probably better to use FBX in general. It's an Autodesk format, though. It's not open source. It might even be better to use collada.dae, but I just don't know. I'm pretty much a 3D noob, so let's just do this one. All right, and I want to animate it in place. It's not bad. If we were to do like a little over-the-shoulder look, that's pretty good. Alright, let's download that one. I know, Yoda, I know. Okay, so I want, let's do a jump as well. So there's this itty bitty jump. So I just want the jump up because I want it to be separate because you don't know exactly like. So there's jumping down. Huh. Jumping down, jumping forward. I think that's what I want. That's not too bad. I'm not a huge fan of the arms going out like that, like they're Superman. Jumping rope. Interesting. Alright, let's get that one. And then let's get jump down. That's a weird one. It's not bad. That's more what I want. Okay. So, we've got a few different FBX animations here. Let's go back into Unity. Let's delete this model, but I'll leave the material. And I want to bring in my model again. Oh, no, wait. I don't want this one. I want the rigged one, which is in my downloads, I think. Okay, so in my downloads, idle, falling to landing, jumping up, and running. Alright, cool. So let's delete this character base. Now, what's up with this model? Oh, he's teeny tiny. Look how teeny tiny that is. Okay, let's put it at 0, 0, 0. And let's grab these three models and let's bring their scale factor up to 10. And apply. That's better. Yeah, that's way better. So it still might be too small though, and then this gets that material. It's probably okay. All right, so just to see how it's gonna look, I want to move my main camera, game object, align with view. Let's bring it down a bit. Let's do that. That's not too bad. Okay. And if I hit play, they should automatically loop the idle animation. But let's find out. Nope, they're not playing the idle animation. And that's probably because of the animator. So we need to make a controller. So let's make an animation folder. Let's create an animation controller. And let's actually put this in its own folder. So now I need to open a couple more windows. I need the animation window, and I need the Animator window. Okay. So back to where I was. I actually want this to be a separate game object, so I'm going to create a new game object. And I'm going to call this player. And I'm going to put that idle model as a child of this. And I'm just going to call this player model. And then inside my animation, I'm going to grab that on there. And then in here, for the animation, I'm going to let's plug that in up there. Models, idle, and I want to grab the idle animation. And I'm going to rename this to idle. And then let's go back to our scene view, and that should work, but let's see. There we go. Looks like it's not looping though. So I want to grab the animation. Oh. Can I not make it loop? It's got the right avatar. Oh, okay, that's what I have to do. That's right, because it's 3D. You have to make sure, like, it'll warn you if your animation isn't one that can loop. If your end frame and your first frame aren't close enough together, it'll tell you you can't loop this for whatever reason. But in this case, you can. So there we go. Cool. Now it should loop now. Nice. All right, so we need something for this little duder to be standing on, and a few other things as well. Right now it's just a model. There's no physics or anything like that. So in 3D, you can use either a rigid body or a character controller. And I honestly don't know which is better to use, because Unity themselves have put out some demos where they use either a character controller or a rigid body. So let's see what the interwebs has to say. So Unity, which is better for 3D, character controller or rigid body. Here's somebody who said who asked the same question. Oh, they wrote an article about it. Character controller. Okay. Mishka361 asks, what's the character controller? So let me show you. So in my 3D environment here, I'm going to... The character controller is a defined way to set up being able to move up and down slopes pretty well. It allows you to choose what your step offset could be, the slope limit for the angle, the center of the character, the radius of the character, and the height of the character. And character controller in the Unity API comes with some built-in functions. So if we go into the Unity API here, and clear these off, we've got a few different methods. We have move and simple move, which are already built in, so we wouldn't have to script the movement, we just have to call these two different things. But I don't think you can use a rigid body with a character controller. Yeah, no rigid body. Not affected by forces, which will only move when you call the move function. It will then carry out the movement, but be constrained by collisions. So this isn't affected by any of the forces. So I think I want the rigid body instead. But if you're not using a character controller, you have to program in all of this movement stuff. Noridin Zishan asks, are you doing a detailed character movement for this, like idle, walk, run, jump, etc.? I mean, however far I get today before I feel like I have to go work on other things, yeah. Let's let's center this inside the character controller. So, I mean, this is just a personal project. I was going to record some videos today. But before I wanted to do that, I wanted to work on something just for me, because it's been a while since I worked on something just for me. Oh, hey, look how teeny tiny that dude is. Okay, it's nice to see how small they are based on an actual model. So, I'm gonna have to grab these models that I'm using. Currently, I think they're all 10. Let's make them 20. Oh, still not big enough. Let's go. An RPG game. Well, I don't know. So I've been thinking about, like, I haven't had very much time to do my own work on my project just for me. So I've been thinking about, like, what exactly would a project made just for me look like? And okay, that's good. And so I've been thinking about, well, what kind of games do I even like? And I like games that have, I generally like third-person games. I like third-person games with a lot of movement. I like third-person games with some sort of progression. And this is, not having a clear goal in mind can actually be pretty harmful if you aren't being pretty wary about creep. So I'm just right now playing around. So right now I'm just centering my player inside of the rigid body here and making sure that they're about the size I want them to be, which they finally are. One of the things I've noticed is that size constraints can get weird when you import to Unity from Mixamo. Unity either makes it so that each block is one Unity unit, which is not what most people would want, or it makes it so that each block is a tenth of a Unity unit. It gets weird sometimes. So, okay. Let's take a look and see how this looks. It's not too bad. Oh, that's even better. Nice. Okay. So, player. Let's not use a character controller, because I want to use forces. Let's instead use a rigid body. And a rigid body needs a collider. And the capsule collider needs to know a radius. Okay. That's good. I can work with that. Now, I need something for this to collide with. So I'm just going to add... Yeah, I'm going to download the ProBuilder package. I flippin' love ProBuilder. So let's go to the package manager. I'll give it a second to load. I won't be impatient. And I don't know why ProGrids is still in preview, since it was on the apps or on the Unity Asset Store for like a million years before Unity bought that company. But ProGrids, I think, is kind of essential if you're going to be using ProBuilder. And again, I'm far from an expert at using ProBuilder, but I'll show you what I do know how to do. I haven't looked at how many people are watching. 12 people. Nice. Okay. Do. Kelly Sampson. We are a dedicated bunch. Man, I appreciate it. I'm still amazed that anybody cares to hear what a middle-aged math teacher from Montana has to say about programming, so I'm here for it. Y'all are pretty awesome. And if you haven't joined the Discord's full of pretty decent people. And like I said, I know you guys are dedicated. I am going to do some recording when I'm done with playing with my own thing for a little bit. Okay, so that's, yeah, so we got pro grids, our pro build. Now I want to do advanced so I can use pro grids. There we go. All right, so pro grids. There's a few other things I might want to add, like Cinemachine and what else? Post-processing. It always helps to make your project look at least a little nice when you start it. And then do-tween probably, because I like using do-tween. Okay, there we go. Sweet. So ProGrids, if you've never used it before, makes it so that when you move stuff around, it snaps to a certain value, and you can define that on a per axis basis. So the reason I like it with ProBuilder is it allows you to make sure that anything you're making isn't just a random size, but it's actually conforming to, like, see here it's 0.5. I'm going to change this to be 1. And I'm going to activate it for, I'll leave it on Z, but cool. Moyaz? Sorry, I don't know how to say that. Says, happy to be here. Your Zelda is the best Unity 2D tutorial out there. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I don't feel like it is, of course, but I appreciate you saying so. James Doyle, if you guys haven't followed him, Games Plus James, he has some really good stuff too. All right, anyway, back to what I was doing. So let's make up a ProBuilder window. Dock this down here to make a new shape. And see that right there? Like, that alone is why I love ProBuilder. I don't understand why Unity didn't have this like built in from the start. So I need it to be like there. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to grab the face. Let's go pretty big with this. Right now I'm just kind of building like a test area for this. Alperin Amka says Turkvami. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Okay. So I'm just kind of building like a great big open area here that I can add different things to. That way I can test out movement kind of in its own isolated little test bed. Okay, and let's go a bunch this way. And some more this way. Now, here's where the magic happens. I'm going to delete this face, and then I'm going to grab the other faces I've been working with, and I'm going to flip their normals. If you don't know what like 3D terms are, the normal of a face, or I guess it's calculus too, is what's considered to be 90 degrees to it. So like right now, all these faces think that out here is the outside. If I flip their normals, now they think that in here is the outside. So now I'm going to make this different. Let's go to the edge mode. No, hey, come on. I just wanted that one edge. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And let's bring this one up as well, but maybe not quite as much. All right, nice. Let's go to the object mode, bring this down, block. All right, so now I want to go to my character's rigid body and add some freeze rotation constraints. I'm going to freeze rotation on the X and Z axis. If I didn't, when I hit play, they'll fall right over because we're using a capsule collider. All right, there we go. Now, this light is way too bright. So let's bring this way the heck down. Let's also make this cube static for lighting purposes. I guess I can bring that directional light back up a bit. Let's go to like 0.5. Yeah, that's better. And then it's computing the lighting right now. I should turn off auto generate. Let's rotate this to make the lighting just a bit more interesting. Something like that. Mishka Studio says, is it able to animate chicken or other animals in Mixamo? So long as they're to have 2 arms and 2 legs, yes. If you want to do like a quadruped, no. It's Mixamo is just for bipedal stuff, but the asset store might even have some free animal animations. You'd have to check it out. Okay. While it's baking my lighting here, I'm going to clone this. And I'm going to add fill light. This is going to be in the reverse direction. This one isn't going to make any shadows. And its color is going to be something that can just kind of fill in. So generally you want this to be close to the color of your sky because that's where shadows come from. It's a bit too much. There we go. All right, so I don't want it to keep rebaking my lighting, so I'm just going to bring up my lighting settings. Dock that over here and turn off auto generate. Okay, so I'm going to add no, I'll leave it like this for now. This is good. So if I hit play, I should see my player drop down. Oh, apparently I do want to bake my lighting. So let me do that really quickly here then. Oh, I also want my first directional light to have no shadows, or hard shadows, not soft shadows. I'm just waiting for the lighting to bake if you guys are wondering what I'm doing. I like that they call this ode to blocks when it's really just the Tetris theme straight up stolen. Okay, there we go. That's better. Alright, so now that's gonna look better when I hit play, I'm sure. Yeah, that's way better. The character falls down a bit because I have them off the ground to start, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna bring my camera down a little bit. Is that gonna be too high still? Alright, so here's what I'll do. I'll realign the camera with my view and copy the component settings, and then I'm going to paste them back in. So now, there we go. I've got some Dutchness going on here with my angles, so I'm going to reset this to be 0 and like 30. Yeah, my angle still looks pretty Dutch, but I don't know. We'll go. Okay, it's fine for now. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. So let's start making some scripts for this. So if I go to my asset folder, create a new C# script, then I'm going to call base movement, and another one that I'm going to call character movement, or player movement. And I'll put these both in a scripts folder. Jeremy Jackson says, I looked away for a minute. You've got this. Yeah, it's really, really easy using Mixamo to get something rigged and moving. It's not moving yet, but like the animation works. The idle animation does. I haven't actually like gone into the Animator window and built the web, but the animation works so far. So let's take a look at our base movement and our player movement scripts I just made. And once again, because it's me, I didn't have Visual Studio open already. So we've got base movement. Let's make a serialized field. So we need to have a movement speed and a rotation speed. We also need to have a reference to the rigid body. And in Wake, we're going to see if there isn't, if not my rigid body, and then we'll also require a rigid body component for this script to work. Is this going parentheses? Is that? Yeah, that's what the issue is. Oh. I thought I put another. Cool. So then in here, instead of update, I'll just make a quick little movement method. Nope, not on animator move, just move. And this is going to take in a vector 3 of move direction. And then we'll do okay, that looks good. And then for the other script I made, this is going to inherit from base movement. And using fixed update, we're going to say private vector 3 temp movement, and then during fixed update we'll say temp movement equal to vector 3, and put that get axis raw horizontal. Yeah. And then for now, I'm just going to make the Y 0. Ronqua says, hello, thanks so much for your hard work. Your helps are awesome. Thank you very much. Glad to hear it. And then put that get axis raw. I might have those two. You don't have to apologize for your English. It's fine. I understood you. Should be a new vector 3. Okay, and then we're going to call move and pass in temp movement. So there's a few issues with this as it is right now. First of all, we're not taking the camera into account. We're only taking in world positions, but this should be enough to get us started. So if we go to the player, add player movement, put our movement speed at 5, rotate speed at, I don't know, 90. We'll have to mess around with that. And then the rigid body is the rigid body. No, I got that right. Is he rotating on his own? That's kind of weird. Alright, let's lock the rotation too. It must be because of the friction with the surface. And that slow falling is because I have gravity activated and it's kind of fighting gravity. Cool. So we're good so far. Now, let's make a reference to the animator. Let's do this as a separate script. We'll call this animator controller. And then we'll update the animator if we need to. There we go. So this needs to know what the animator is. And then I'm not going to put this on the model, so I'm not going to require a component this time. Instead, I'm just going to make a quick little function that's public. Change anim value. We'll do one for floats and one for bools. Change anim float value. So we're taking in the value and the key. This should probably be reversed. We should probably take the key first. It would make more sense to do it that way. So we'll do string key float value, new value. And then we would do anim dot set float key new value. And then so we'll do anim dot set float, or not set float, set bool. Okay. So then from player movement, we'll make a reference to the animator. Fixed update, we will update. Oh, it's not set float, it's set float value. How did I call it? Oh, change. That's what it is. We'll do the same thing for Z. And then I guess we don't need the bool just yet. Okay. And let's only do this if my anim exists. Yeah, we'll leave that way. I could refactor this a bit to make those functions instead of calling it all in fixed update, but I think it's okay for now. So back in here, in my Animator, I want to go to my parameters, float, float. And then from my models, I'm going to grab the running animation. And I want this to loop. I'll call this running. Transition. Sorry, I haven't looked at chat in a minute. Invoker Picker says, thanks a lot for your videos and stream. You're welcome. He also asks, will this stream be saved? Yes, this stream will be saved. Unsubscribed says, please save the stream. I will save the stream. Hey, good job, Mr. Taft. I've been following your Legend of Zelda series, and they're great. Thanks very much. Alright, so let's transition here. It's the condition that MoveX is greater than 0.1, because there's floating point errors. And transition here with the less than 0.1. I wonder, I've never actually tried this before, if I can do two different conditions, like an AND statement. Because right now it's only taking in the X, so if I'm moving in the Z axis, it's not going to trigger it, but I don't know, let's find out. Let's go to scripts. I want to put my animator controller on there. Tell it the animator is my player model. And alright, let's find out if we broke anything. I'm sure we did. Or I did. Shouldn't blame you for that. Not getting any errors. Which is almost a good sign. Let's add a breakpoint here. Huh, can't I just? It shows you what kind of a noob I am. Alright, we'll do a debug. What are you doing up there? Alright, okay, so it's not even getting in there. Oh, that's why. There we go. Nope, nope, too much. Unsubscribed. Okay. I'm just a regular dude. So wait, he was running there for a second. I swear he was running. Oh, did I get him back mixed up? Oh, thank you, Alexander. I appreciate your comment, and thank you for telling me where to put a breakpoint on Visual Studio. I guess I've been doing too much work in Godot. Alright, so what do I want to do here? I want to see, I want to change my method here because I'm using my 2D method to do this, and that's not going to work. So I'm going to delete There we go. I'm going to delete the 2 parameters I added. I'm going to add a different parameter instead, which is a Boolean value, and I'm just going to call this running. I'll go from here to here if... Oh, okay. Can I not delete this? Oh, minus, duh. So if running is true, and then if running is false. It's going to blend them too. I don't want an exit time for these. So I do want a transition duration though. So I think I want this to be like that. Because it's 3D, it would look weird if you just snapped to... Okay. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks good too. All right. So back to the script here. All right, so let's say if temp movement dot magnitude is greater than 0, so Alexander says, I think you need to tell the state to repeat the animation. It plays once and stops. You can do that in Unity itself, and I'll show you here in just a minute. So if temp movement.magnitude is greater than 0f, then I want to do myanim.setBool, change anim bool value, running to true, else. My cat's on my bookshelf and he thinks he's very clever. He's very proud of himself. myanim.change anim bool value, running to false. So let's change this. All right, so if I go back in here, I think I need to lerp the movement value because it slides a bit. I do like that transition from idle to running, but there's that weird slide. So I should lerp. Yeah, let's go to get access instead of get access raw. That might help it. Because get access lerps it automatically. That way I don't have to do the lerp. I think that transition is too long. Let's make it smaller. Like that. And then here. Like that. Hey, no, I wanted you smaller. Okay. Let's try that now. That looks so much better. I know he's moonwalking, but it still looks better. It could be even a little shorter, but I think it's good. Now, let's do a super simple version of a third-person camera. It's going to make some people nauseous, probably me too. We're going to do that. Okay. All right, let's try it now. That's not too bad. It's not bad at all for just a couple hours worth of work. Pretty pleased. Okay. I could mess around with the transition a bit more and make it a bit more fluid, but I think it's good for now. So now what I want to do is make this a bit better. So currently I'm just directly moving on that axis. I'm going to make a separate function here for my movement so that's not just in fixed update. Let's do void player movement. And I'm just going to grab this, put it in there. Oh, I can't call it player movement. I'll call it player move. Even though that's probably not the best idea in the world. So now I'll call player move. And I'm also going to make a new method. Change animation. And put all that in here. And then call that. Okay. So what we want to do is we want our movement to always be relative to the camera, and there's a way that you can get information relative to the camera forward. Unity relative movement to camera, or not movement, relative vector. Moving a character relative to the camera. So is it vector 3.relative? Camera is camera.main. Forward, right, transform.forward, transform.right. Let's just do relative vector. Alexander asks, why place the actual movement code in fixed update? Is the movement rigid body based? Yes, the movement is going to be rigid body based. Because I want to do some physics stuff. You can use the character controller for it, but then the movement is, I don't know, I think it's different. But I'm not very well versed on 3D stuff, so what I'm doing right now is something I might end up redoing later. I thought there was just a vector 3 relative or something like that. I'm looking to see, I swear there was like a way to do it based on, because the reason that I want to do this is because let's say you want to do something like Resident Evil where your main camera isn't there and instead you have a main camera that's like that. You want your, what you consider to be forward to be relative to the camera, which it is right now. But if I take my camera and rotate it, so like, wow, that's a super Dutch angle. So like that. If I take my camera and rotate it, See, now my left is my character's left, and my forward is the character's forward, which is fine when the camera's in the same position as the character, but it's not when the camera isn't. You run into the Resident Evil problem of the tank movement. So what I'm trying to do is do movement relative to where the camera is, and I thought there was a way that you could do vector3 dot relative. Oh, that's what I do. Okay. No. I know how to do it. I know how to do it now. Alexander says, I think the standard way is to place input code and update, and then apply the movement in fixed update. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that would be better or not. Because then you're still, I don't know if it's better or not to do it that way, because then you're still like collecting information that you're not necessarily using. Like, let's say your game runs at 100 frames per second. Fixed update is only called 30 times per second, so that means that per second you're collecting 70 frames of information you don't need. So I don't know if it's better though. I don't know. If your game's running at, I don't know. That's a good question. I just don't know the answer to it. So what I want to do is temp movement plus equals camera.main dot forward. I think that's what I want. So if I just add my movement onto camera.main.transform.forward, I think that should help. So you can tell I don't know because my voice was going up. So I'm just gonna like rotate my camera in relation to the character, and then okay. Okay. All right, that wasn't right. Because transform.forward is the forward vector from the camera, that means our character is going to be moving right away. So let's see why this isn't right again. All right, so if I pause it and I rotate my camera, little duder should run relative to the camera now. So if I go like this and then move. Sorry for anybody who was coming here. Yeah, see, he's always running based on the camera's forward. Okay, so let me. Alexander says, fixed update pulls much more slowly, so it's possible to miss some info, and collect the input information isn't too expensive. I see your point. So for those of you guys who aren't following what's going on, the conversation Alexander and I are having about this, Alexander is asking why I'm not doing this. Get access. Nope, didn't mean that. Meant that. He's asking why I'm not doing this here instead of doing it here. Because he's saying that I might be missing some input. And he very well could be right. Mm-hmm. I haven't done any kind of testing. So I don't know if it's better to do it this way or the other way. Let's take out that camera stuff here. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I got a text message there. So let's save back in here. Yeah, I can make that transition faster, but it doesn't feel bad. I mean, it feels was pretty much the same, I think. All right. Anyway, back into this. So what if I'm not getting the forward vector and I just add it to the camera's transform dot position? Because I'm normalizing it in movement anyway. So let's try moving the camera here. So I'm moving the camera so it's not straight on with the character. And nope, that didn't work. Oh yeah, that's why that didn't work. That makes sense now. I'm being foolish. Michael says, please re-upload the stream later. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. It'll be archived. So I don't want the cross product. And I don't want the dot product either, I don't think. Wait, do I want the cross product? Temp movement. Yeah, I told you guys in this stream that I'm a noob at this, so almost all my work in Unity is in 2D. Let's wait, let's take all these rotations to 0. And then move it, and then do pretty sure this isn't gonna work. Okay. It almost worked. Okay, that's not it. All right. Let's just check this out here. Is that what it is? Is it transform.direction? Camera.main dot. no, it's not transform dot forward. It's, I just saw it. Transform direction. Camera dot main dot transform direction. Kelly says, sitting here at work, working on plumbing services for a townhouse on one monitor and watching YouTube on the other. Thanks for keeping my hobby alive. Yeah, no worries. Transforms direction from local to world space. Is that what I want? So they're doing camera forward is camera.transform direction. Vector 3 forward. Alexander, no, I'm trying to make the characters. I'm not trying to make the camera move with the player. I'm going to use Cinemachine for that. What I'm trying to do right now is trying to make it so that when you do movement, it's relative to the camera's position and not the character's position. So as it is right now, if I plump down the camera right behind the character, movement works exactly as I'd expect it to. But that's because when I press forward, I guess it's not quite exactly as I expected it to. When I press forward, I'm moving forward based on the character's forward direction. Oops, I guess I don't want to do that. I'm pressing forward based on the character's forward direction, which seems to make sense, but the camera isn't always going to be directly behind the player, and in that case, you want the player to move. In that case, you want the player to move in a direction that isn't is relative to the way the camera is looking. It's the Resident Evil problem, where in Resident Evil your movement is always forward, backward, side to side based on the character's forward, backward, side to side, and not the camera's. So you want it to be like, if your camera is rotated this way, you want, when you press forward, for your character to go that way, forward relative to what the camera sees. If that makes any sense. I know this is making for some riveting content here. Oh, okay. So I guess that's what I can do. I can do, so I can do horizontal times. I'm going to cache the camera here. Ref cam. So we're just going to grab ref cam dot transform dot right. Oh, transform dot position. That's why. Well, I guess I can't cache it like that, so. Why can't I just multiply? Oh, duh. Transform dot right dot x. And this should be camera.main.transform.z or transform.position.z. So alright, so if I hit forward, the character should go forward relative to the camera, which is not working. Okay. This is frustrating. So I don't need this multiplier anymore. So something wrong with world space, but I can't get out what's mainly using. The reduction you use results in a vector with a non-zero axis. It needs to be first zeroed like this. This way the character only rotates around one axis. Oh, that's what they're doing. So, okay. So I'm going to change this from being, actually I'm going to comment this out and change it. So I'm going to use a scalar multiplier. So get axis horizontal times transform dot forward plus should be times this should be transform dot right, and then for safety's sake we'll put okay, I'll explain what I just did there in just a minute. I just want to see if it works first. Ha ha ha, yes. Nice. That makes me happy. Alright, so instead of creating a new vector, I took the camera's vectors, the right, and I multiplied it by the horizontal axis so that you're moving horizontal relative to what the camera sees as horizontal. And I did the same thing for the z, multiplied that by the camera's forward, and then I made sure that the y value is 0. So now I want the character to, as part of movement, I want them to rotate on the y-axis. So transform.rotation equals, so I'm gonna store a value for how much I want to translate on y. So this is gonna be call this float rot is equal to mathf.a tan 2. So it's the arctangent of the y movement, which is the z movement, compared to the x movement, which is still the x movement. And then we want to equals quaternion dot Euler, and then do 0 rot 0, and then this needs to be multiplied by rad to degrees. Okay. So if we go back in here now, so it's fine for left and right. So let's see. I think I only want to change the rotation if the magnitude is greater than 0. Because that's what's causing the the idle animation to always be facing the same direction. The name rot. Yes, it does. I guess I just didn't save. Okay. So the left and right is fine. It's the forward and backwards. Let's go back in here, and why is the forward and backwards wrong? That was the diagonal. I imagine the diagonal is opposite too. Okay. Let's change that. For the diagonal, or for the forward and backwards. I'm pretty sure if I just add 180, it's gonna make the forward and backwards work, but the side to side not. But let's check it. Yeah, no, the side to side doesn't work. Should it be... Should this one be negative? I wonder. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm just kind of talking to myself as I work here. Now I got all kinds of issues. There we go. Cool. Let's make those transitions a little bit shorter. So Transition duration is going to be, let's do 0.1 seconds for both of them. That feels way better. Cool. Let's get a camera working now. And once I get the camera up and running, then I think I'll be done for the day. With this anyway, I think I still need to record a video. Cinemachine, install. Do. Okay, so nope, I don't want to remove it. Okay, there we go. So now what I want to do is add a new free look camera. So free look, and as part of my player model here, I'm going to make a new empty game object that I'm going to call the camera target. And the camera target is going to be put roughly at my character's head. Cool. So the CM free look, I'm going to call this my character camera. And its follow and target are going to be that. So now, a few things. I want my spline curvature to be 0. So Kelly asks, while you talk to yourself, I'm trying to reproduce a side-scrolling shooter like Metal Slug. How do I shoot and jump, also shooting down? So, this is fine. So one of the things with Metal Slug is it's incredibly gorgeously animated. So if you're trying to reproduce Metal Slug exactly, you've kind of got your work cut out for you. But let's say that you have, here, let me save this really quickly. And I'm just going to explain this here, and then you can watch the video again in the future if you need to. Let's say that you have a, let's go to my models. I'm going to add a new sprite here. There they are. So let's pull this in. Let's go into 2D view. So you've got your character here. It's fine that you're a noob, dude. Let's add another sprite. I'll make this one a square too. I guess I didn't need to make an actual new sprite for it, but whatever. So like if this is the gun, come here. Then your jumping controls whether or not your player is going up or down, but you control the angle that this is at by using the what's called the arc tangent of the XY of your thumbstick or whatever you're using, which I know is a lot of math words I just threw out. So like here, if you want your, I'm gonna go down like that. If you want your gun to be facing down this way, then you want to find out what your thumbstick is at on the x-axis and the y-axis while you're in the air, and then you would set your gun's direction to be the arc tangent of the y-axis over the x-axis, which will give you an angle to rotate it on the z-axis. And then when you fire, you're always just going to fire a projectile from the end of the barrel, and the projectile is going to inherit the rotation of the gun, if that makes any sense. I kind of go over something similar to it in the Zelda series with the bow and arrow, how the bow, or how the arrow inherits the direction of the player's movement. I'm going to save this, and I'm just going to call it 2D demo. Helps if I can spell. Alright, so going back to my sample scene here. Out of 2D. Alright, so now, for the most part, the camera system just works. So now whichever direction the camera's pointing, it's reversed though, which, ugh. And my camera's right in the center of the screen. I don't want that. So let's fix some of this. So the y-axis value. Okay, I want that at 0.5. The x-axis. No. Hey, come on, come back. Okay, let's do that. Acceleration time, deceleration time. Mouse X. Binding mode, top rig. So I don't want any look ahead time. I do want to deal with, oh, so I'm on the middle rig right now, aren't I? So let's look at the middle rig. I want my screen X. And then let's grab our target. It's the bias I need to change, not the screen X. So we'll do that. And then my camera target will move down a bit more. It's not finished yet. I am still working on abilities. I've taken just a little break from posting videos, but I'm back now. So I'll be posting more stuff there soon. I want the bias to be there and up, and I want my soft zone pretty small. Don't want a dead zone. 0.5. So let's take our Y value to 1, which is the top rig, and let's make this and the bias. What are my values here? I've got my bias on X to be 0.5. Let's make this bias on Y is negative 0.5. Then Right now I'm just copying my values that I made for the other one. And then, oh wait, I'm doing the bottom ring, not the top ring. Good lord. Bias x 0, 0. Alright, and then, so I put this down to 0 here. We'll be at the bottom of the rig. Okay, how does that look? That's not too bad. It needs work, but for the moment it's not too bad. It's annoying me that the axes are inverted. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm gonna need to play with this a bit, but for now I think it's okay. All right, so oh, I do want to play with the orbits a bit though. So the bottom orbit, I'm gonna put it like 1. Middle rig, I'm gonna put it like 2. Top, I'm gonna put it like 2.5. Spline curvature is 0. Top rig's radius is going to be like 0.4. Bottom rig's radius is going to be like 0.5. This is going to have a radius of like 2. Let's try that now. Oh, whoa. That's not good. Alright. I'm gonna have to play with that next time. I think I want this to be world space 2 instead of simple follow with world up.